So this is how the narrative flips, not with a press conference, not with social media rant, but with a single moment, a shot, a stare down, and silence. Caitlin Clark didn't say a word. She didn't need to, because the ball spoke for her. And what it said echoed across arenas, broke through locker rooms, and reached every critic who thought she was just a fluke, just hype, just another rookie who couldn't hang. This wasn't just basketball. This was a statement. And Clark made it in the loudest way possible, by letting her game shut down the noise. Welcome to Courtside drama, where the action off the court is just as intense as what's happening on it. But tonight, we're diving deep into what may go down as the single most defining moment of Caitlin Clark's early career. A moment so explosive, so jaw-dropping, it's got the entire league and its fans recalculating what they thought was possible. Now, let's be clear. This didn't come out of nowhere. Caitlin Clark has been under fire since the day she got drafted. The expectations were suffocating. The criticism was relentless. She won't adjust to the W, they said. Too small, too flashy, too reliant on the three ball, they echoed. But if you thought Clark was going to fade quietly into the background, you haven't been paying attention. Because in one electrifying performance, Caitlin Clark didn't just answer the doubts. She obliterated them. She took all the talk, all the snide tweets, the dismissive hot takes, the subtle shade from veterans and analysts alike, and she turned them into fuel. And what she did next, it wasn't just a highlight, it was a warning. It all started with a possession most players wouldn't even dream of shooting. A step-back three from way outside the arc with a defender in her face and the shot clock dwindling. But Clark didn't hesitate. She pulled it like it was a free throw and drained it. And then she drew the foul. 4-point play. Crowd erupts. And just like that, the momentum of the entire game shifted in an instant. But it wasn't just one shot. Oh no, this was a symphony of devastation. Clark followed it up with another deep three, then another, and another, each more outrageous than the last. Off the dribble, off the catch, fading left, stepping back right. Didn't matter. The range, unlimited. The confidence, unshakable. And the message, crystal clear. You thought you could bully me out of this league? Think again. Because Caitlin Clark isn't here to play by anyone else's rules. She's here to rewrite them. She's not waiting in the corner for the offense to find her. She's sprinting off screens, curling through traffic, contorting her body midair, catching passes on a run, and releasing before defenders can even register the threat. It's not just her shot that's special. It's the way she gets to it. Movement, timing, precision. She's turned chaos into choreography. Watch her closely, and you'll notice something that separates her from almost every other shooter in the league. She doesn't need a second to collect herself. No dribble to gather. No exaggerated pump fake. She catches, she squares, and she fires, all in one seamless motion. The result? A shot so clean, so fast, so lethal, it doesn't even give defenses time to react. By the time they think she's about to shoot, the ball's already halfway to the net. But perhaps the most terrifying part? She's not even trying to be flashy. She's not showboating. She's not doing it for the gram. She's just running her offense, her way. And the highlights? They're just a byproduct of a game that's been sharpened through years of reps, late nights in the gym, and an obsession with perfection that borders on ruthless. Now, let's talk about transition. Most players need structure to succeed. They need plays drawn up, teammates in position, defenders slightly out of place. But Caitlin Clark doesn't wait for structure. She doesn't need it, because the second she crosses half court, she's a threat to score. And in one particular moment, one that sent social media into a frenzy, she caught a pass just steps across midcourt and, without hesitation, launched it from a logo. Bang. Crowd goes wild. Announcers lose their minds. And the opposing team? Frozen. That's what makes her different. She's not playing the same game as everyone else. While defenses are still trying to set up, she's already executed. While they're scrambling to rotate, she's already made them pay. It's not about luck. It's not about heat checks. It's about knowing with absolute certainty that this is her shot and it's going in. And yet, it's not just offense. Clark's impact stretches the full length of court. You want hustle? Watch her fight through screens like her life depends on it. You want defense? Watch her contest without fouling, time her jumps, then immediately turn the stop into a fast break. In one play, she can end your possession and start her own. She's a one-woman momentum swing. There was a play late in the second quarter that perfectly captured this duality. On defense, Clark bodied up her assignment, timed the contest perfectly, and got the stop. But before anyone could even think great defense, she had already turned up court, received a cross-court pass, and pulled from deep, all in about 4 seconds. That's not just talent. That's control. Control of the moment. Control of the pace. Control of the game. But let's rewind a bit, because all of this didn't just happen in a vacuum. Caitlin Clark has been doubted, criticized, and yes, targeted. Let's not pretend the physicality isn't there. Opposing defenders have been extra aggressive. There's been bumping, grabbing, even cheap shots. The unspoken message? We don't care about your college accolades. Welcome to the W. And Clark? She welcomed it right back. Instead of shrinking, she rose. Instead of complaining, she competed. She took the hits and still got her shots off. She absorbed the contact and still made the plays. She didn't flop. She didn't whine. She just balled. And it's that grit, that fire, that's winning people over. Because yes, we all love the logo threes, the step backs, the impossible shots that somehow look routine. But what really sets Clark apart is her refusal to be rattled. She plays like she belongs, like she's been here for years. And when the pressure mounts, when the crowd gets loud, when the defenders tighten their grip, she leans in. There was one moment, right before halftime, where the shot clock was winding down. Clark was isolated at the top, no screen, no help, just her and a defender in full lockdown mode. And what did she do? She gave the tiniest jab step, kept her composure, and launched from about 28 feet, buzzer beater. Swish, quarter over, message delivered. And let's talk about those messages, because Clark's not just making statements on the court, she's shifting the conversation off it, too. Every time she hits a ridiculous three, every time she carries her team through a run, every time she pulls up without fear, she's challenging the way we talk about women's basketball. She's forcing fans, analysts, and even her peers to rethink what's possible. Because Caitlin Clark isn't just a rising star, she's a disruptor. She's not here to fit into the WNBA. She's here to stretch it, to redefine its boundaries, expand its reach, and inject it with an electricity that can't be faked. And let's be honest, it's working. Ticket sales? Up. TV ratings? Surging. Jersey sales? Through the roof. And at the center of it all? Number 22. Because love her or hate her, you're watching. Everyone is. Whether you're tuning in to celebrate her greatness or secretly hoping she misses the next shot, you're locked in. That's star power. That's gravity. That's Caitlin Clark. And look, we get it. Some people think it's too much too soon, that the media hype is outsized, that she hasn't earned it yet. But here's the thing. When you do what she's doing, when you take the shots she takes and hit them at the rate she does, you're not waiting for permission to be great. You're already there. So to those who said she was overrated, to those who said she wouldn't survive the physicality, to those who said she was all flash and no substance, Caitlin Clark just responded. And she didn't use words. She used buckets. She used range. She used fire. Because sometimes the best way to silence the noise is to let your game speak louder than any headline ever could. And make no mistake, Clark isn't done. This was just one game, one night, one performance. But it's a preview of what's to come. A glimpse into a future where Caitlin Clark isn't just a highlight reel. She's a headline, not a novelty, an icon. So next time you see her pull up from the logo, remember this. That's not just a long shot. That's her shot. That's her message. And if you're not guarding her from 35 feet out, you're already too late. The future of the WNBA isn't coming. It's here, and its name is Caitlin Clark. And if you think this moment was just a one-time explosion, think again. Because what Caitlin Clark is doing isn't just dominating a game. It's bending the arc of the WNBA's future. She's not simply adapting to the league. She's forcing the league to adapt to her. And in doing so, she's raising the bar not just for rookies, but for veterans, for coaches, for entire franchises that now have asked themselves, how we stop her? Spoiler alert, you don't. Let's take a deeper look at what's happening behind the scenes. Opposing teams are scrambling. They're throwing double teams at her before she even crosses half court. They're assigning their best offenders to chase her around screens like shadows. They're redesigning entire defensive schemes just to keep her from catching the ball. But the problem is, Caitlin Clark doesn't just break schemes. She breaks spirits. You can see it on the faces of defenders by the third quarter. The exhaustion, the frustration. the helplessness. Because no matter how well you play the possession, no matter how perfectly you stick to your assignment, there's still a chance, no, a likelihood, that Clark will find a sliver of daylight and bury you with it. And it's not just physical, it's psychological warfare. Because every time she hits a shot that shouldn't be possible, she's not just putting points on the board, she's planting doubt in the opponent's mind, in the crowd's collective breath, in the very fabric of the game. That's why she's so dangerous. And then there's the effect on her teammates. You'd think a rookie coming in with this kind of spotlight might cause tension, jealousy, maybe even resentment. But here's what's happening instead. She's lifting everyone around her. Her gravity, her ability to draw defenders out to half court, opens up the floor for everyone else. Her vision, underrated. Her passing, surgical. And when she threads a no-look dime between two defenders for an easy layup, it's not just flashy, it's leadership. Because Clark isn't trying to be a one-woman show. She's trying to win. And everyone on that floor knows it. There was one play, deep in the fourth quarter, game on the line, where she could have taken a deep three and no one would have blamed her. But instead, she drove, collapsed the defense, and kicked it to the corner for a wide-open look. Swish. That's trust. That's team basketball. That's greatness recognizing when to pass the torch, even in a single possession. Now let's talk rivalries, because every era has them. Bird versus Magic, Taurasi versus Catchings, and now Clark is about to be the centerpiece of a whole new generation of rivalries that would define the league. You can feel it building. There's tension brewing between Clark and some of the league's toughest veterans. You've seen the glare downs, the extra bumps after the whistle, the cold post-game handshakes. The veterans don't want to be dethroned. The rookies want to prove they belong. And Caitlin, she's caught squarely in the middle, but make no mistake, she's not backing down. In fact, she's leaning into it. One game in particular saw Clark exchange words with a former All-Star after drilling a deep three in her face. No technical foul, no escalation, just a look, a nod, a silent, "I'm here now." It's the kind of moment that fuels highlight reels, yes, but it also fuels ratings, headlines, and locker room bulletin boards. And the league is better for it, because every sport needs a spark, a lightning rod, someone who not only performs, but polarizes, someone who makes every game feel like an event. And whether you're rooting for her or against her, one thing's clear. Caitlin Clark has become appointment viewing. The ratings prove it. Games featuring Clark are seeing historic viewership numbers for the WNBA. Social media clips of her logo threes are pulling millions of views within hours. Analysts are dedicating entire segments to her impact. Kids are showing up to games in her jersey. Fans are waiting outside arenas just to get a glimpse of her walking off the bus. She's not just a player anymore. She's a movement. And the business of basketball is taking notice. Sponsorship deals, endorsements, commercials. Caitlin Clark's brand is exploding because it's authentic. She's not manufactured. She's not coached to deliver rehearsed sound bites. She speaks with the same confidence off the court that she displays on it. And that honesty, that fire, it resonates. But what really cements her impact is what she's doing for the next generation. Little girls in gyms across the country are pulling up from deep, shouting her name as they launch threes. Youth coaches are rethinking their drills, incorporating logo shots and off-the-dribble footwork. High schoolers are trying to mimic her release, her intensity, her swagger. Because Caitlin Clark has made it clear, this isn't just possible, it's inevitable. She's redefining what a young female athlete can aspire to be. Not just consistent, not just reliable, but dominant, game-changing, borderline unguardable. And the ripple effect is undeniable. College programs are scouting differently. WNBA teams are drafting differently. Media coverage is expanding. Entire narratives are shifting. Because when you have someone who can shake up the system just by being excellent, you pay attention. And Caitlin Clark, she demands your attention. But here's what no one saw coming. Her ability to grow under pressure. Most rookies have a learning curve. A stretch of games where they struggle, where the speed of the pro level overwhelms them, where the lights get a little too bright. But Clark, she's thriving in the chaos. In fact, the more pressure you apply, the better she gets. It's not just that she doesn't shy away from a moment. It's that she seeks it. She wants the ball with the game on the line. She wants the crowd roaring, the defense draped all over her, the clock ticking down. That's when she's most alive. And it's that mentality, the assassin's mindset that separates the good from the legends. There's a reason she's already being mentioned in the same breath as WNBA greats. And it's not just hype. It's because of what she represents. A new age, a faster, bolder, more fearless brand of basketball. One that isn't afraid to take risks. One that celebrates range, embraces chaos, and thrives under scrutiny. That's Caitlin Clark. But if you think she's reached her peak, you're mistaken. Because as good as she is now, the scary part is this: she's still getting better. Her reads are sharpening. Her decision-making is evolving. Her chemistry with her teammates is growing. And every single game, she adds a new wrinkle, a new move, a new angle, a new way to break down defenses. This isn't just talent. This is obsession. This is someone who wakes up thinking about basketball and goes to sleep dreaming about it. And that's what keeps her ahead. Because while the league scrambles to catch up, Caitlin Clark is already working on what comes next. She's watching film, studying tendencies, working on left-handed passes, step-through footwork, mid-range floaters, every detail, every edge. Because she knows the target on her back isn't going anywhere. If anything, it's getting bigger. And she welcomes it. Because that's what greatness does. It doesn't run from expectation. It chases it. It confronts it. And then it conquers it. So the next time you hear someone say she's overrated, remember the stat line. Remember the logo threes, the jaw-dropping dimes, the full-court sprints, the hustle plays, the defensive stands, the dagger shots. Remember the noise and how she turned it into silence. And remember that all of it is still just beginning. Because Caitlin Clark isn't done silencing the league. She's just getting warmed up.